On this episode of the Naturist Living Show, Nude Volleyball.
This episode of the Naturist Living Show is brought to you by Bear Oaks Family Naturist Park. At Bear Oaks, we offer traditional naturist values in a modern setting. Free your body, free your mind. www.bearoaks.ca.
Volleyball. In naturist circles, it's really become ubiquitous. I mean, it doesn't matter which club you visit, whether it's a small little member-owned club or a large resort, they all seem to have a volleyball court. In fact, if you go back and you look at images from the 30s and 40s, they were playing volleyball back then. It's really synonymous with naturism, even in the textile world. You know, I remember watching episodes of the show MASH on television, and Hawkeye was always poring over his nudist magazines, and often he was salivating over the nude volleyball and the textiles that's apparently appealing and potentially sexual, to especially to males. The idea that women in particular would be bouncing and hitting the balls and running around and prancing around nude while playing volleyball. Of course, the truth is different. Volleyball is a very hard sport, but it is one that's a lot of fun and that a lot of people can play. And so I decided to interview Peter Allison, who organizes the tournament at Bear Oaks. He's been a long-time volleyball player. Not just a player, of course. Now he's organizing the tournament. But he has played volleyball at naturist events all around North America. And so he's really an expert in the field. So what follows is my discussion with Peter.
Well, in many ways, volleyball initially brought my family to naturism. We used to play volleyball quite regularly at a clothed establishment. And one fellow came in with a shirt. And it was from a previous volleyball tournament, and it had nude people playing volleyball. And I said, well, that's a fascinating shirt. Where did you get that? And the fellow told me, well, I got that at a naturist volleyball tournament. And I said, wow, doesn't that hurt, you know, if you're diving for the ball or something like that? Which, incredibly, is the question I get from most people straight off. And the answer was no. And he told me that the volleyball tournament was coming up shortly. So we headed out with my young son and my wife to see a volleyball tournament at the Four Seasons Naturist Resort. And we really enjoyed watching it. And I really wanted to get out there and play because I love volleyball. And so I did go to a tournament, and my first tournament was the Sunny Glades tournament. And it was a great deal of fun. Never had so much fun. We met some great people. And I just thought, wow, this is the sort of thing I could spend my entire summer doing. And I thought the big problem was that we just didn't have enough volleyball tournaments in the naturist area. And definitely volleyball brought my family into naturism. But once we got there, the fact that there were other children for our kids to play with, and my kids just loved the whole experience of running around with the other kids in the nude. And the whole social aspect, sitting around the campfire, playing the guitar after you play volleyball, the whole team thing, the camaraderie, it was just a great experience.
What should they expect? Do they need to be a good player? Or if they've never played before, will they feel out of place? What happens? What's it like?
Well, that's a good question. I came to naturist volleyball and volleyball in general being a very bad volleyball player. I never played on a volleyball team before I got into that indoor volleyball. When I came out to naturist volleyball, they had many levels. They had an introductory novice level, and I was quite surprised to find out I was actually good enough to excel beyond that. I started in the novice plus level, and who are a bunch of very forgiving, fun-loving type volleyball players. They take volleyball very seriously, as do all the levels. And you'll have, in the Ontario area, you also have a B level and an A level. It would be nice if we could get enough people together that we started up maybe a few more levels, but and some tournaments tend to be smaller, so they'll have less levels. But a knowledge of how to play volleyball is definitely not a prerequisite of getting into a volleyball tournament.
What happens? How long is it, and what happens at the tournaments?
Well, the way we format the tournament, the simplest tournament that you have out there usually lasts a weekend. And so that would be something like the Four Seasons tournament is concentrated just around a weekend. Some of them try to spread out over several days. So if you look at the Sun Glades tournament, you have a Friday event, and then they go Saturday and Sunday. At Bear Oaks, we tried to move over multiple days. The main tournament goes over a weekend, a Saturday and a Sunday. So the Saturday is round robin play. First, you either show up with your teams or you show up without a team, sign up as a single, and then it's my job to try and find out the right fit for a team for you or people who need players. And invariably, everybody gets to play. And then, so you spend the whole day on Saturday playing games and watching the other games, cheering people on, talking to people about volleyball or anything else, learning some new things, learning some new techniques. And then after you finish playing that day, that's kind of your placeholder. You look at how many wins you had that day, and that's your placeholder for the following day, in which you play your playoffs, which are generally double elimination, so you still get a lot of play even in the second day. And so it's just great exercise. Still lots of time for breaks in between games just to socialize and have fun. But what we try to do at the Bear Oaks tournament is we offer a number of other tournaments over the days. And we have one all-day tournament called a King and Queen of the Beach tournament. Everybody gets to play with a different person every game. And what happens is every time your team wins, you as an individual get a point. And those points are added up at the end, and the people who have the most points at the end, they're considered the winners. So maybe the top 8 people of all the people who are playing, if you have maybe 20 or 25 people playing, the top 8 get a prize or something. And it's a great deal of fun, and you always get surprising winners because you'll find that certain people have never played volleyball before, end up just playing with the right people all day, even though they're different people, and they get a lot of wins, and they end up being in the winner's circle. And so it's fun whether you're a beginner or whether you're a more seasoned player. For those people who aren't quite into volleyball, there's actually a lot of social activities. We get a lot of spectators who are at Bear Oaks. We have a great playground, so people will come and the kids will just play on the playground. We even have a mini kids tournament where the kids just basically throw the ball over the net a few times, and then they all win a prize. So they have fun. We try to come up with a number of other children's activities. We have campfires in the evening. We have a band that comes in the last couple of years. We have a pig roast. And you could just generally enjoy the Bear Oaks facilities because they have this great lake where, for swimming, and they have your hot tub and your pool if you want to enjoy that. And they have other activities going on at the same time because they have people playing pétanque or people just riding their bikes around or just going for a hike in the woods or whatever. So there's lots of opportunities. Mainly the draw during a volleyball tournament, unless you're the real hardcore volleyball players, is the social aspect and not really the play. And I personally always felt that that naturism, you'll get people who come and they're nude and they'll suntan. And I'm not the type of person who can sit still. I got to be moving around doing something. And volleyball gives me that opportunity. And I think the fitness aspect is an important aspect to me too. You get outdoors, you move around, you do things, you participate with other people, and that's what I think really shines about an event like a volleyball tournament.
Now, naturism and volleyball is almost a cliché. Nudist volleyball, nude volleyball player. It's a joke almost in the textile world but it's true. It's so common. I mean, I've never been to a naturist club anywhere that doesn't have a volleyball net. Why do you think, and it's always been, you look back at pictures from the 30s and there's a volleyball net and they're playing volleyball. Why do you think that volleyball is so common, so popular, so ubiquitous? within the naturist community, more probably than anything else that I've ever seen in the world.
I don't think not having your clothes on has anything to do with why it would make volleyball a good sport. Me personally, I find it very hot to play in clothes, and I find it very refreshing to not have my clothes on when I play volleyball. But what specific about volleyball attracts people? I was kind of thinking that the naturists, they have a limited amount of space. So football might be more difficult because you need, a full football field. Or even tennis is difficult because you need your cement court and stuff like that, although there's a lot of naturist tennis players. But volleyball, you just kind of set up a net in the middle of the lawn and everybody just starts hitting balls over it. It's very simple. It gets people off their feet. And it doesn't take a lot of skill to play a basic volleyball game. You throw 12 people on the court, 6 people on either side, and they just start hitting a ball over, and people just have a great time. You'd probably find the same thing in a non-naturist environment too. But I think those people would be a lot hotter because they'd have to wear clothes while they're playing. There's nothing better than after you've played on a beach volleyball court and you've just gotten sand absolutely everywhere, but not stuck in your pants. But right afterwards, what you do is you run and you jump in the lake, and all the sand's off you. You come back out, and you're cool, you're refreshed, and you're all ready for your next game. Try that at an establishment where you had to keep your clothes on, because you'd have to worry about showering first to get all the sand off of you before you could get into the pool. Or perhaps you could jump in the lake, but then you'd have to change because your clothes were all wet. You couldn't go back on the sand again. And plus you had the sand all stuck in your pants in the first place, which is god-awful uncomfortable. It's just terribly uncomfortable having sand stuck in your clothes. So if you take all those factors in, playing volleyball in the nude is perfect.
You've been to Whitethorn. And Whitethorn is sort of the mecca of naturist volleyball. Why is that? Why is Whitethorn the ultimate, and what's it like?
Actually, now come to think of it, our very first volleyball experience was Whitethorn, in which we played, my wife and I. We were encouraged that this was the best experience, even though we weren't big volleyball players at the time, and we had never been to a tournament. We went to the Whitethorn tournament, and we were told, there's going to be 1,800 people there, and they're just friendly, they're different people, and you're going to meet people that you like. And we had such a great time. Definitely the social aspect, once you get there, outweighs the entire tournament. But I'm telling you, there are very serious volleyball players. You get double-A players, people jumping up higher than you could ever believe, hitting the ball around. It is a spectacle to watch people of this quality play. But then you go down to the novice level, and people are just having fun, getting the ball over the net, having a good time. And then you have great evening activities. You have your dances. You have people playing guitar around the campfire. You have people just gathering in little groups and just talking about their common interests. And everybody's just so open. If you go to the average campground where you might have 1,800 people, you probably never talk to anybody else. But here, you're talking to people nonstop. And a lot of the greatest conversations go on in the shower or in between games when you're trying to wash the sand off, right? And you're talking to your neighbor and about what's gone on during the day and just, naturism in general while you're taking a shower. I can't believe what quality conversation you can actually have with people in the shower. It seems like such a waste of time that we have to spend that time alone on the average. Yeah, Whitethorn is really big. We couldn't believe it when we first arrived the first time. Tents were up against each other. It was like going to Woodstock or something like that. There's just one camper after another, one tent after another, and people are just shoved really close. And we went with a group from Ponderosa, and they had an area that they take every year, and they just kind of they block it off, and they saved a spot for us. They knew we were coming in, and they had to move some cars all the way. It was almost a covert secret spot for us. But where you go, you move from area to area, and the different areas represent different people from different areas or different people of different interests. But you could just walk in, and they'd be super friendly. They'd be offering you some food, maybe some drinks. They'd be talking to you about their own interests. But you could walk and walk and walk, and there's just more people and more people and more people, and it's just unbelievable how many people are there. It's 1,800 people come to actually play the game of volleyball the year that we went there.
With 1,800 people, how does that work? How many games? How many courts? How does that work? How is it organized?
Okay, they have a lot of courts, and they have preferences too. Like if you like sand volleyball, they have multiple sand volleyball courts for different levels. If you like playing on the grass, they have multiple grass volleyball courts, which range from novice to novice plus to a B level. And they have a B level and kind of a B plus level playing on hard courts. And hardcourt volleyball, although you might think sounds scary in the nude, it is a great game. You can just jump higher, you can grab onto the ground more. So if you're really getting into competitive volleyball, that is a great way to play. And then you get your AA and AAA players, or your A and your AA players playing on those courts, and it's just a great sport to watch. But they have enough courts set up there that you can accommodate all these different levels and all these different people, and fairly smoothly. You get into quite a number of games during the day, and yet there's still lots of time to have fun and socialize.
You've told me that there's non-naturists who go there to play because it's so good.
There are non-naturists who go. There's a Canadian varsity team that had been there and quite a few years, and there's some American varsity teams that show up, and they are not naturists, but they are nude for the tournament because that is a requirement. You must play in the nude. It doesn't matter how warm or cold it is, and you never get any arguments on that point. It's pretty clear. But the quality of these players, they will come back every year, and they'll play, and they'll play, and they're just a joy to watch. So
you just had a tournament around Christmas time indoors in the London area. Tell us about that.
Well, we'd been talking about that for a few years. A friend of mine who's a Sunnyglades member and myself had been talking about putting on a tournament at our indoor beach volleyball place here in London. And we just decided that, okay, this is the year. Let's just put it out there. So we talked to a lot of people in the summer, and people were interested, gave me a list of names who wanted to show up. So I made an email list from that. And from that email list, I started emailing people potential dates and that we were going to consider between Christmas and New Year's a volleyball tournament. People returned opinions. People returned more people's emails. And my email list just grew and grew. So when it came around, it looked like we were going to have about 85 people. And I said, oh, sure, 85 people show up and maybe 60, 85 people sign up and maybe 60 or might show up or something like that. But as it turns out, we got the 85 people. A few people who said they were going to show up did not. And a few people who didn't say they were going to show up did show up. But we rounded around 85 plus spectators. And Spikes itself has 3 courts, so we were able to play 4 levels. We had A, B, Novice, and Novice Plus, and we played on all 3 courts, so it was a bit of a juggling act, but everybody told me they enjoyed it, and people right at the tournament were asking me, well, when's the next one? Are you having one next month? Are you having one again in March or something like that? So they all wanted another tournament very soon. I had a couple of teenage girls asking me telling me that I should probably do this every month. I'm thinking it would probably become a lot less popular. And we didn't make any money on this. This was just for fun, and it was a lot of work. So I'd probably appreciate some volunteers in the future. But it was definitely a great time. Everybody had a fun time. Went the whole day. The Spike staff, the beach volleyball place's staff, they were a little shocked at first, but they ended up becoming acclimatized, and they interacted with the crowd quite readily. I remember a pizza guy came in carrying we with the extra money that we made, we bought pizzas for everybody. And when the pizza fellow arrived with all the pizzas, he took a look around. He was shocked. He was kind of standing in his place. And he went back out and to get the rest of the pizzas. We offered to carry them in for him. But he said, "Oh no! I'll carry them in myself. That's fine." Because I think he couldn't believe his eyes. He just had to take another look and see what was going on.
Everybody listening to this is absolutely convinced by you that they have to try volleyball. So if they've never played before, they don't know how to get started. What would you suggest?
Well, coming to one of our tournaments is the best way to get started. The Bear Oaks tournament is a great tournament to get started at because I bring in a professional volleyball trainer who gives clinics for beginning volleyball people. And that's a good way to start off. But, you don't even need that because if you go into novice, people will just coach you. They will tell you what you need to do, where you need to stand, and they won't be in your face about it. They will just be friendly and they'll show you what to do. And you could play for years in novice and never really master the game of volleyball and just have a fun time as many people do. And if you do end up gaining a proficiency, you have the option to move up through the levels.
So if you want more information about the Greater Toronto Naturist Volleyball Tournament, just go to bearoaks.ca/volleyball, and I'll post links to a variety of websites related to Whitethorn and other naturist volleyball opportunities. And that's it for today's episode. As usual, if you'd like to send us an email, please send us your comments, your ideas, your suggestions to naturistliving@bearoaks.ca. Or you can leave us a voicemail message at area code 253-369-9383.
This episode of the Naturist Living Show was brought to you by Bear Oaks Family Naturist Park. Traditional naturist values in a modern setting. Traditional values means that naturism is more than just taking your clothes off. It is a life philosophy with physical, psychological, environmental, social, and moral benefits. Bear Oaks Family Naturist Park strives to promote those naturist values in a modern setting that provides the amenities and services that our members and visitors expect. Free your body, free your mind. Learn more at www.bearoaks.ca.